Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Wednesday, February 21 edition of the HGP Nightly News. Here's what you need to know this evening. The Auditor General has slammed the Georgetown Municipality for providing partial auditing information to the Audit Office. The previous comprehensive auditing of City Hall accounts was done since 2004. Audit officers will be moving into City Hall in the new week. Rodin James sat down with the Auditor General on Wednesday.
City Hall is among a handful of entities that are not in full compliance with the Audit Office's standards and has found itself in the bad books of the Audit Office. In an exclusive interview with the Nightly News on Wednesday, Auditor General Mr. Deodat Sharma said that the non-compliance at City Hall regarding acceptable auditing standards is a regular feature.
We had this issue with $174 million that couldn't have been accounted for. Is this one of the issues, the main reason why you've undertaken to audit the books there?
No. We went in based on 2015 report, Auditor General report. The last audit for Georgetown City Council is 2004. They said they had record for 2005. We went in, there's no record because all was damaged or whatever by some flood. Then there's a gap between 2006 to 2011. They gave us statement for 2012, 13, 14 and 15. But it was just partial information that we got.
The Auditor General said that City Hall has found itself in a position that should anything untoward be found when City Hall's books are audited next week, persons would be made to climb the stairs of the courts.
AG, if discrepancies are found with the City Hall books, would you recommend anything that charges be laid or anything of the sort?
Well, yes. If you're doing we have decided that we're going to do a forensic audit. And in that forensic audit, if we find any matters leading to criminal offense, then the report can go to the DPP and the police for criminal charges. The problem is, if you remember clearly too, that this is not the first time the town clerk nor the city treasurer was sent home. There were two others that were already sent home, and we did special investigation at City Hall. And it is continuing. We have to get the accounts up to date.
For 2016 and 2017, City Hall reportedly provided nothing to be audited, and according to Mr. Sharma, failing to produce those accounts is not a good sign in terms of accountability.
If you are doing expenditure and if you cannot provide the vouchers, then that's misleading information. It's false information. You're supposed, according to the FMA Act and other instructions in the case with the City Council, is Chapter 28 to 1, right? They have documented that what type of records to be kept, and the Auditor General have power to go and inspect these records.
Many civil society leaders and the People's Progressive Party have been calling for City Hall books to be audited. Mr. Sharma said even if City Hall does not provide the required documentation, the audit officers will still go ahead with the audit. Rodin James, HGP Nightly News.
Meanwhile, Town Clerk Royston King welcomes the announcement by the Auditor General to have City Hall books audited. Here again is Rodin James.
Auditor General Deodat Sharma says his officers will shortly begin a forensic audit at City Hall in light of auditing non-compliance by the municipality. But before Mr. Sharma and his officers get hold of the books at City Hall, Nightly News spoke with the town clerk about the development.
We're very happy that the Auditor General has indicated that he will be auditing the books of Council. We have always welcomed the Auditor General to come in to look at our books. We believe that audit is a good thing.
Mr. King said that the audit will identify the strengths and weaknesses of the municipality's financial system. But that's not why the auditors are moving into City Hall. City Hall's books will be audited because it has been 14 years since a comprehensive audit was done there.
I believe that the City Council is a public place and it ought to be audited. And therefore, we would welcome the Auditor General to come in and to have a look at our systems and for us to see what we need to strengthen, what part of the systems we need to enhance, and how we can make it more efficient.
Mr. King said he is particularly interested in being transparent and accountable, and any audit would be welcomed.
Tom Clark, some media reports suggest of some talk about some $174 million that cannot be accounted for. Are you aware of anything of this nature?
I think the challenge we have with that is that at the time when some of the auditors were here, I think there was a problem locating some of those vouchers. Since that time, those vouchers have been located.
When the Public Accounts Committee members met during Monday's sitting of the House, City Hall came under fire for its financial management. One PAC member even suggested that the government stop giving subventions to City Hall. Royden James, HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Royden. The Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly has taken a dim view of the hundreds of millions of dollars spent by the CHPA during 2016 for projects and salaries, compared with what was spent on infrastructural works. Kristen Mackingham reports.
In 2016, there was zero provision for the operations of the Central Housing and Planning Authority (CHPA) in the national budget. And when questioned about this on Monday, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Communities Emil Magarel stated that the entity operated by using monies from its housing fund. The CHPA's acting finance director, Riaz Ibrahim, was questioned by the Public Accounts Committee chairperson Irfan Ali about the monies spent.
The budget for the expenditure, it's just over 600 million. For our current operation under the CHPA.
According to Mr. Ibrahim, the current expenditure caters for the payment of salaries and other administrative expenditures, which include payments of subsistence, fuel, utility expenses, traveling, and more. He was then asked to explain what percentage of the monies was used on all expenditure outside of the current expenditure.
Expenditure under the Housing Fund project as it related to infrastructure. There was 630 million, and you also had the thousand homes expenditure. That is the construction for the housing units. Of just over 80 million.
With this revelation, the Public Accounts Committee chairman concluded that the entity in 2016 spent $600 million on salaries and current expenditure, but executed $710 million in infrastructural works, which he deemed not feasible, since operational costs sapped up 90% of the entity's expenditure. Permanent Secretary Magarel agreed that it was an unsustainable move.
In actual fact, you're running an organization where 90% of your cost is operational costs, salaries and other recurrent expenditure. Do you find this sustainable?
In no organization where 90% of the cost is operational couldn't be described as sustainable. But
would it be sustainable?
Can be described as sustainable.
Can
be described as sustainable. In no
can't
be. That's correct.
That's right.
No, that's correct.
Well, that is the point I'm making.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Mackingham.
The investigation into the death of a Betafawactin teen is not closed. In this report, Crime Chief Paul Williams is basically asking members of the public to step forward and say what they know. Here are the details. The gruesome murder of teenager Renella Benfield can only be solved if those with credible information step forward to the police and say what they know. The teen's mutilated body was found in the Tramp Cemetery last December. Speaking on the progress of the investigation, Head of the Criminal Investigations Department, Assistant Police Commissioner Paul Williams, appealed for the public's help to bring those responsible for the teen's murder to justice.
We are still in pursuance in terms of solving that matter. It's just a matter of time. I'm still appealing to the public out there. If you have any information as it relates to where we can be able to solve that murder, I look forward for your cooperation. But we are still working very seriously in terms of solving that murder. And by God's grace, I hope we do.
More than 6 persons, including the teen's boyfriend, were detained less than 2 days after the teen's body was found, but they were later released after police found nothing to implicate the men to the murder of the teen. As the investigation into this murder and other serious crimes continue, the crime chief sees as paramount the partnership with the public to suppress crime.
What they realize that despite they give information, there is nothing there being said who gave the information. And they feel safe, they feel secure about it. Because what they realize that, we see the importance of partnership. We cannot do it alone. And if the public really and truly want crime to be under control, it simply means that their cooperation are totally paramount. Because if they don't, many times we can only be reactive, despite as much as we want to be proactive.
At the time of the discovery, Benfield's body was face up between 2 tombs in the cemetery. Her hands were on her stomach and her pants were pulled below her hips. Her face appeared to have been smashed in.
But once they send information and they let us know exactly what's likely to happen, what they observe, what they see, and we get on top of the game, we can able now and truly to prevent or to suppress criminal activities. So what I would say to them, you hear something or you see something, say something to me. So I can able to have my team working towards either preventing or solving.
An autopsy later proved that the teen had been alive when she was bashed in the face. That autopsy determined that the teen was not raped at the time of her murder and that the burn marks were consistent with sunburns. Her parents had doubts about the autopsy report. You don't wish to accept the autopsy report?
I do not think it's sunburn. You know why I would tell you that? Because she had on her jeans, man. Mm-hmm. Fair enough, they say she wasn't raped, but yet maybe because they would have dragged her or whatever, her pants yet, was pulled down partially, but yet her underwear was on. The autopsy did say she wasn't raped.
Right.
But she had on her jeans. So if sunburn, how come all of the bottom of her foot, just like really black?
Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Still under police blotter, an electrical contractor of Enmore Hope, East Coast, Demerara, was shot to the head during a robbery. The robbery occurred Wednesday at Fowles. Crime sleuths were told that the 38-year-old victim had earlier encashed a check at a commercial bank on the east coast of Demerara and proceeded to his work site located at Fowles on his motorcycle. It was then that 2 males approached him on a motorcycle with no registration plates. The rider brandished a firearm, dismounted, snatched the bag containing the cash, and discharged a round at the victim, which grazed him at the back of his head. The suspect then rejoined his accomplice, and they escaped. Investigators have retrieved a spent shell at the scene. No arrests have been made. The contractor is in a stable condition at a private medical institution. Citizenship Minister Winston Felix says he is not prepared to go into the gutter with former President Donald Rambatar and Barra Jagdeo, who blame him for some of the criminal occurrences of the early 2000s, but says that should he be called before a relevant COI, those who are talking now would have to find a hiding place. Gordon James spoke with the minister.
Since the government announced several planned commissions of inquiry, former presidents Barra Jagdeo and Donald Rambatar have repeatedly said that Minister of Citizenship Winston Felix, who served as police commissioner for some time during the crime wave of the early 2000s, should be investigated. Both Mr. Rambatar and Mr. Jagdeo had said that given Mr. Felix's influence at that time, many criminals got off lightly. They even accused the minister of providing support to the dangerous gang members who held society ransom during that period. In an exclusive sit-down at his office on Wednesday, the minister was asked about the allegations leveled against him.
My mouth will only be opened when I'm called before an inquiry. I have nothing to say before then. They can criticize all they wanted. You must remember I was there too, and I can see. But
Minister Felix said he is not shocked at the criticisms against him. He made clear that he took over the helm of the police force when the crime wave had already started. The crime situation escalated in Guyana in 2002, and Mr. Felix took over the reins of the police force in 2004.
I don't care who criticizes me. That's their work. They have been criticizing me for 9 years. Since I retired, every night they had me on the TV. I don't have a hole on my skin. So, they may wish to continue until I take the stand. Okay? Yes, Minister. I have nothing else to say.
The minister said indeed it was troubling in the early 2000s, but the blame for the crime wave of that period shouldn't be placed at his doorstep.
The inquiry is intended to bring closure to a number of persons who were kidnapped, killed, murdered. We don't know where they are. Some people died and we don't even know how they died.
Mr. Felix said if he is called before a commission of inquiry, which he is looking forward to, a lot of the mystery of the troubling period will be demystified. Royden James, GP Nightly News.
Thank you, Royden. The expansion of the Mashramani prison is moving along well. When completed, overcrowding at the Camp Street prison should be a thing of the past. Here are the details. One of the recommendations coming out of the Commission of Inquiry into the 2016 Camp Street prison fire, which left 17 inmates dead, was the expansion of the Mashramani prison. Acting Director of Prisons Gladwin Samuels provided an update on the living quarters for staff and the actual expansion of the prison.
12 houses were constructed last year, and an additional 8 will be constructed in 2018. Last weekend, the advertisement went out for the first 4 of those 8 houses. The tender is supposed to be open this week, so more than likely the contract should be awarded very soon. And in keeping with the trend for last year, those contractors who were awarded contract for the construction of those houses, I wish to compliment them because they all completed those houses in keeping with the deadline given.
The works being executed are rehabilitative and will also include the fencing of the 20 acres of land on which the prison is housed. The expansion will also ease whatever issues of overcrowding the Camp Street prison has. Samuel said that with the expansion, the Guyana Prison Service will also increase the hours of electricity provided at Mashramani.
However, while it is our aim to increase the 24 hours, that will be done. But what we are doing right now is that we are in the process of overhauling the generator that was there from 2013. Because it has been in use for such a long time, mechanically there is need for us to do general overhauling, and that is currently being looked at. As soon as that process is completed, we will be able to provide more hours of electricity to the compound, moving from what is currently 12 hours to 24 hours.
Samuel spoke of how the modernization of the Mashramani prison would increase the capability of the prison service to better offer skills training to inmates there.
What that will do as well is that it will increase our ability to be able to offer skill training to prisoners, because most skill training requires power tools in these days, and because electricity was generally provided during the hours of darkness from 18 to 6, it restricted the capacity of the prison to offer training in terms of carpentry and other such areas that would require the use of power tools when power was not adequately available. We are also looking at the installation of solar panels, which will complement the generators, especially for our CCTV expansion, which will be part of our 2018 project as well.
President David Granger, Minister of State Joseph Harman, and Minister of Public Security Kemrat Ramjatan paid a visit to the prison. It was then several issues were raised. Chief among them was the need to construct more prison blocks to facilitate the transfer of prisoners from the Georgetown prison in an effort to ease the overcrowding at the facility. Additionally, it was noted that the living quarters of prison officers were in a deplorable state and needed attention. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. The Rastafarian community in Guyana is steadfast in its fight for the decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana. Kristen Mackingham reports.
Rastafarians have repeatedly cried out about being discriminated against not only by members of the public but ranks of the Guyana police force, all because their culture embraces marijuana use. As such, the Rastafarian community is continuing to lobby for changes, and come next week, a march will be held in support of this. Members of the Rastafarian community spoke with Nightly News about this. So the theocracy reign of Divine Order of Nyabingi Rastafarian membership, the organization, will be hosting a march on Monday, February 26th. Could you please tell me more about this march and why this is going to be happening?
We did propose a march for the decriminalization of marijuana after summing up all the reports of suffering and decriminalization and persecution, all kind of persecution towards the marijuana.
He lamented the fact that many youths of the Rastafarian community face prosecution constantly and end up behind bars for possession of very small amounts of marijuana. He explained that the government of Guyana, in his view, needs to follow sister countries in the Caribbean and South America, such as Jamaica, by legalizing the use of small amounts of marijuana.
Too much jail for the Rastaman, too much stigma on the marijuana, on the Rastaman and the Rastafari community. Because the police mark us like if we marked for death. We're in a bus, we asked to come out and search finally just for marijuana. We don't carry guns and ammunition. So we're saying to the nation and to the government or the relevant people in charge that it's time for this plant to be free.
Meanwhile, another member of the community, Aaron Blackman, noted that marijuana is as important to his culture as other items are important to other religions and cultural persuasions. Can you tell me the importance or the significance of the use of marijuana in your culture?
For the Rastafarians, marijuana is important to us because just like the church drink wine and they use bread or they call it wafer at communion. Our communion is the marijuana. We use the marijuana as our communion, as a sacrament. And so we'd like the freedom for us to use our sacrament.
The Rastafarian community will be holding this march from Buxton, East Coast Demerara to the Square of the Revolution in Georgetown on February 26, 2018 in an effort to erase the stigma attached to marijuana. This community also contends that according to studies, marijuana is less harmful than alcohol and tobacco. Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Macklingam.
Incoming passengers at the Chedi Jagan International Airport were on Wednesday morning given a taste of Mashramani 2018 as the management of the airport, along with the Ghana Tourism Authority, continue the tradition of extending a warm welcome to visitors from Mashramani. Here again is Kristen Macklingam.
Hundreds of passengers at the Chedi Jagan International Airport were delighted when steel pan music lit up the arrival section of the airport, along with revelers decked out in symbolic colors of Guyana, dancing to music that will be played on Mashramani Day, February 23. Nightly News spoke with some of these visitors, including Trinidadian singer and songwriter of soca music, Destra Garcia, who is slated to perform as part of the Mashramani 2018 celebrations in Guyana.
Well, you know, it's all about Mashramani. I love being here at this time of year. But tonight I'll be performing on the start stage 6. I can't wait for that. All that energy, all the Guyanese vibe. You know, I love this country. So.
Now, just one question before you go. You've been coming to Guyana a lot performing. Yes. But what's the one thing you can say about this country and the people that makes you want to keep coming back?
I love all the food. Guyanese people can real cook. That's one. And the vibe, the energy. A lot of places are missing that fire, that element of carnival where people just get on bad. And in CNGT, everybody getting on bad right through. When Dasha hit the stage, when Queen of Bacchanal get on stage and they hear soca, I love the fire and the energy here. So no matter how much time they come here, I will be here every single time.
Meanwhile, overseas-based Guyanese Carlisle Fraser, lead singer of the Finoco Singers, left New Jersey to come home in time to participate in Mashramani celebrations this year. He, along with band members, will be performing Lumbe music.
What brings you to Guyana now and why?
Mashramani, you can't really not be here for Mash. We want more money for Mashramani. Some say we can't get that, but me now want hear that. Plenty money coming through the VAT. Food for buy, me minutes dry, me house rent due, what me for do, GPL, cut off me light, me girlfriend gone, nothing tonight. We got about 10 of us in the back. On the floor, we like 16 people. We got the Felix singers, we got the Thunder from 28, we got the Masquerade band from, not Pleasance, from Anne's Grove, all right, and then we have John band from Weldon.
Other passengers who arrived early on Wednesday morning also expressed their joy and excitement at being able to return to Guyana to experience and participate in the Mashramani activities this week as well.
Mashramani is home. I'm from Guyana and I'm home, and that is so sweet to know that we love this place. Caribbean is fun. Wherever we go, Mashramani is it for us. Always. I love Mashramani.
So for the Mashramani, it's my first time. My brother's with me right now, so he and I are going to have a great time, and it's going to be a great feeling, you know. It's a great feeling.
I just went Trini Carnival, so I know it's going to be a smaller version of that, right? Yeah, man, I'm just expecting good vibes.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Macklingham.
Thank you, Kristen. Your sportscast is ahead.
The Max Enduro Team Challenge 2018 is being hosted by the Savannah Drive in collaboration with the Guyana Tourism Authority and will see over 30 participants as well as bikers who have signed up to ride the trails and face the challenges independently. That's according to the Savannah Drivers Coordinator Shane Danrad.
Teamwork is one of the main things. I've been doing a lot of rides for over 6 years, and this is one of the things that brought me to this, doing an event like this. The riders actually ride in a way that when the adrenaline reaches them, they just ahead. And if there's anything that happened to the partner behind or so, nobody don't know whoever's in front or so. So this is kind of like building a team, because we go on a lots of cross-country riding and distance, and you need to get these riders to cooperate and ride together.
Mr. Danrad addressing media operatives at a press briefing about Max Enduro 2018 on Wednesday. Meanwhile, according to another representative of the Savannah Drive, this challenge is not a race, but an endurance ride, which at this point comprises 10 teams, 3 persons per team. But the interest of potential participants keeps growing.
It is hoped that in the near future that this will grow into something special and contribute in a significant way to diversify the Guyana tourism experience. And in so doing so, trust that this can develop into something very special that can attract international participants who can experience all that Guyana has to offer.
The Guyana Tourism Authority's coordinator of events, Ronald Smith, stated that such an event is one that will promote ecotourism, but also showcase the skills of participants and the country's natural beauty.
We have recognized there is a great desire, there is need for events as these. There are motorsports events, but there's not motorsports event that takes you in such a terrain. And more so, as my colleague would have talked about, ecotourism and community tourism. And we would like to see the growth of that community tourism in where persons, Guyanese from other parts of the state, more so the coastal areas, to experience other areas that is not well known.
Additionally, a captain from Maracaibo Village, Mr. Adrian, used the opportunity to point out why such an activity is much anticipated in his village.
And from the time I took office, I try to attract tourism. I see it as a key area where every individual in the community can benefit, be it the elders, even to the smallest child can benefit.
The Max Enduro Team Challenge 2018 is slated for Saturday, February 24 at the Maracaibo Village, Region 5. It is a one-day event which will expose participants to Guyana's natural beauty while building lasting relationships between Amerindian villages and visitors. For HGP Sport, I am Kristen Macklingham. South Africa won the toss and elected to field in conditions deemed favorable to the fielding side. India amassed 188 runs from their 20 overs with outstanding strikes by Manish Pandey, 79 not out, and MS Dhoni, 52 not out. India's captain Virat Kohli said he felt it was a winning score, but the inclement weather played a part in keeping the ball wet after India's 12th over, while the South Africans took their chances at the crease and got through to wipe off India's score in 18.4 overs with 6 wickets to spare. The South African batting attack was led by wicketkeeper Henrik Klaasen, who blistered the Indian bowlers, hitting 7 sixes and 3 fours in his 69 from 30 balls. He was supported mainly by captain JP Duminy, who crashed a well-made 64 not out from 40 balls. South Africa won by 19 runs. Wicketkeeper Henrik Klaasen was adjudged man of the match. The teams will meet for the final match at Newlands in Cape Town at 12 noon Guyana time. For HGP Sport, I am Kristen Macklingam.
Auditor General slams City Hall for failing to honor its auditing obligations. Auditors to move into City Hall next week. Come forward and say what you know. Investigation into BV Teen's murder ongoing. And Minister Felix claps back, promises to spill the beans about the early 2000s crime spree if called before a COI. Those were our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.